Now let's back again to the we're just running on the wireless, that's why it took a while, but right now we are in. And here if you look down here is almost 60 giga. That's what I have it here from file. So you go through that. I have been running all these data. Also as well I was using the MATLAB as my software application for the agent-based model for me for running the modeling data, and that's all output data here. And the good things about using the MATLAB, because the output data I can have it as Excel data sheet, so I can read it outside after transfer. And also using .csv usually is lower file size than the Excel. Excel is very big. Here I have almost 1 mega. I have a huge data for each of these files. If I had done it with Excel, normal Excel is gonna be almost the double. Now here the MATLAB I'm using the M. You can also run the cluster through a C language, which is also the other things that's what we need. Now to understand how we can run this program, we need to use separate commands. First, let's start first for let's start first to get how we put all these this command together here. If you need to run this command, you have to run it through a shell. The shell, that's what the SunGrid is gonna understand. So they can take your commands from the shell and they're gonna execute it through the clusters and divide it for each cluster and where it's gonna go for the clusters. For here, for our application here, we have an example for the shell here. If you open this shell, just double click it, or you can transfer here. Even the good things about the WinSCP, you can actually read the data from the hard drive, from the cluster. But I don't recommend them for the bigger size. It's gonna take a while. You have to download that to your computer, to your buffer, and after that open. Once this actually is a small, is like a 500 bytes. So it's not a big deal to open over there. Here, that's actually the command shell that's gonna looks like. That's a standard format all the way to here. This shell, when you're gonna execute, is .sh over here. When you execute it, it's gonna take it step by step and run it. Here, when we're gonna go in much detail, is just a standard format. You can get it from the ODU, and also it depends on your application. If you're gonna use C language, you're gonna use the MATLAB, or you're gonna use different other software to run over there. Here, while I'm running the MATLAB, now I'm specified with the MATLAB software there on the cluster, so the computer will gonna go and fetch it and get it, so they can execute the command. And from here, I'm running the whole MATLAB command over there with the options I need to have it. First, I'm showing the MATLAB here, no display, of course. As we know, the MATLAB, it's like has an interface, has a GUI interface. You can run your command inside that, but I don't need it here. That's why I'm running without their interface. I'm just using the MATLAB with the toolbox, because it has a lot of toolbox. I'm using it in my processing for my modeling. No desktop, as well no splash for not using a lot of memory, but I need output. So the output is gonna be where? It's gonna be here under all these. If you look here, we're gonna just show where is it and how it looks like. The output for the MATLAB. So the output MATLAB, if I need to trace the program, if I need to fix anything need to be fixed and need to be reviewed. Also, the good things about the MATLAB, I can have it as a GPG, the output. If you have like a drawings, you have graph, you have output, you can have it as a GPG, which really save time. Yes, MATLAB has so many functions to use it, so you need to. Now, if you look here, once you execute the command, it's gonna get first things tell you this. You can open it and you can read it. This will tell you exactly he's running the command for the MATLAB and which cluster. Here, the Wilbur is like an HPC is like you can count that like a big mainframe. The big mainframe has few computers, or small mini computers. This mini computer has a name and has a number. This computer has a name, like example here we has the Orville 01. I have running, my software is running on the Oliver and on the cluster 1, so can be identified as well. Now, after we get to the shell, example here, if I need to run separate shell at the same time, also I can define that with the qsub. Qsub command is an execute through the Unix. You get the shell and you identify the shell. I need to use how many clusters, how many few computers, like here I'm showing here I need to use one. We'll get later on what I mean by large. One here showing I'm using one. I can identify using the shell with the 2 processor. Can be with the 4 or 6 or 8. Here it's even numbers, not one number, because each one of this cluster is a 2 processor. And the qsub is execute command for the q shell. Now, when you get back here, I need to know how many cluster I have it on the system. The first command we're gonna start reading is called qstate -gc. That's exactly will tell me what cluster I have here in Wilbur and how many is it and what's available. Like if you're running your software and you need to know what's availability there, so if you're running the software, it's already running. It's not waiting until it's someone else, because like you have an account, other people in ODU with you have the same account and using the same clusters. Once you are using your software with the cluster, you already put it on hold for yourself. So if you need to run a core program, you have to wait until someone else is already finished using the cluster or using a specific cluster, so you can get in and use it. Here we have different system. Here we have the large and small. Large meaning is the 2 processor shifted by a switch, special switching between them, so for the output. The small as well, different switching. To go for this, specific details under ODU, where he's just trying to explain for the beginning to put your foot on the road and how you can use it. If you're using MATLAB, it doesn't matter if it's large or small. If you're using C language, you need to specify if you need the large or you need the small. It depends on your program. Now, what's tell me here? It's tell me how many total cluster available. How many total cluster available on the mainframe. It's already available for us to use it. I have here for the large 36 and for the small 30. But how many I can really run the programs right now? It's under available 26, and I have for the small 24. What's already running? There's a 16 and there is 1. So there's already people running the programs there. Now, the qstate really told me exactly what, how many processors available, how many classes available, and how really, if I need also to trace my job. If I'm running a job, so I can really trace it. I can really find out where is my job is running, is already finished or not. And the good things about that, you don't want to stay on the computer working all the time with that. All what you do, you can just log off and go do somewhere else, or you have anything else task to do, and you come back and log in and see where is your results. So you are not really holding your computer connected all the time with the Wilbur. Now that's one of the command here is called qstate. The other command